into the maze they go. We'll have to keep an eye on how they portion out those arcane torrents. Obviously, you don't want to overuse them or overlap them, because there could be a scenario where you let a heal through and you don't have a torrent, and that will just heal the entire pack to full. So, gotta play it safe here and make sure you have them planned out in advance.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like they're pulling anything on top in this area of the base. I do see the Fell Hunter of Ricky just being there attacking the mobs, so they don't want to pull anything on top of this pack. There's still a lot of the maze left though, so it's very possible that they just decided to not go with anything here because of possibly cooldowns that are not ready, and maybe pull stuff on top of next pack. There we go, they are moving on. Let's see if they're pulling anything on top here. You can see the Fell Hunter. Crash back, so still not anything fancy unless they send the Hunter pet. But, you know, you always kind of want to send the Warlock pet, because the Hunter pet does a lot more damage compared to what the Warlock pet does. So usually just want to send that.
Something I am a little curious of is... Well, okay, never mind, it makes perfect sense. Ricky's still playing with Infernal talent. He's playing Madness Legendary, so in his Infernal he's going to be casting Chaos Bolts still, because they're very useful. They do a ton more damage than Legendary, but outside of it, he's probably just going to be casting Rain of Fires to get as many Infernal procs as possible, outside of his Havoc window. It's a different playstyle to the typical dungeon playstyle, where you get a lot more focused on damage out of this build. Very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I do definitely understand. I'm pretty sure they just run it because of Ingra, right? I don't think overall the dungeons
No.
must be literally because of Ingra. Because they have a rogue, right? And a rogue already provides so much focus target. And it makes so much sense. Because that saves you life. I mean, look at the boss split, right? You can see Team Weekend killed the boss a minute later than the Megalord because they had to kill the drone in one extra turn. So, saving 1 minute by checking the legendary doesn't cost you too much as well, makes a lot of sense. But I think I prefer Donut and Despair kind of strategy, where they just try to have a which gives you the 5% magic damage increase across the board. Plus, probably also has more burst and then the Warlock is less, so we have to switch to Legendary, and they still make that push, right?
Yeah, it's a big damage loss on anything that's not boss, right? To run this Legendary. So I'm actually curious to see how their overall time is going to stack up to Despair. So just going back to make sure we have the time. Their mists was... have that written down anywhere currently? We'll have to get back to 1502, okay, so we can compare that after the fact. I do think that their run is probably faster, but again, Omega will didn't have a very good damage, probably ended up losing another 30 seconds because they did their damage and 20% on the boss rather than just straight up killing it. So, interesting. I want to see if they'll continue going with this strat later on. If it isn't as fast.
And at this point, it also seems like they're going a bit slow in this maze, it seems like. I'm not sure, because they haven't really pulled too much for the walls. And if you look at Team Weekend, even though they were a minute slower on the boss, they're kind of caught up on trash percentage. They're still 7% behind, right? But they're close. They're definitely not so far apart that Omega can just say, you know what, we are playing safer. I think Omega still has to keep up their route right now. It's not like the Plague Fell earlier where Team Weekend lost 5 minutes. Right? Omega still has to make sure they're fast enough to get to Team Weekend in case they do have some crazy strategy that Team Weekend's going to pull off later. Now we can see Omega engaging this Scholar. They have again pulled off the Relic, meaning the cooldown reduction. We're valuing the Relic a lot in the process, but a lot of other FBI teams are going for that buyback. That's just fine.
Well, the Relic is even more valuable for the fact that Warlock doesn't have its cooldown reduction for Wolfreds anymore, right? So more Infernals is pretty useful. Because they'll want to have that Infernal backup if their first full after this boss, which is probably going to happen with that Herba. Remember, that Infernal cooldown is going to be a full 3 minutes. So it's pretty rough to not have the cooldown reduction. Their boss damage is going to be much, much higher. I mean, Warlock topping damage meters on bosses is not something we're very used to seeing in the MDI because they aren't running a single target.
Yep, that is true because they can do a lot of damage, as you can see. And Ricky, of course, just shooting out those Chaos Bolts. Just doing damage. Really helpful on the Tyrannical. That is almost the highest key we have in the MDI, and Tyrannical too. So, of course, single target damage is really valuable. And I do definitely understand the decision of running that legendary. They are already up to 76%, so they only have to deal with 24% after this boss. Look at Team Weekend. They're actually already 81% trash. So they have so much trash at this point. They probably can skip a lot of it. What it looks like some heals went off because they have 2 inspired mobs in this pack now, and they cannot interrupt the tender as the Stinger is also inspired right next to
That was the entire route there. I mean, this is one of the problems with this route uninspired. You have to have a way of getting rid of those nourishes once the cast goes off. They did not deal with it well. Another cast went off, killing pretty much everything. They need to focus on it here. This pull is not going to take any longer. One more nourish cast goes off. It's probably all she wrote for this pull. And dropping incredibly low. Those roots are killing everyone. There's the Tender dead finally, though. But in the meantime, WoW-Xbox has already gotten themselves down to that final intermission phase here, just about to start. Gonna deal with this boss maybe at 12 or so to get good RNG. Let's see how it goes. Final intermission.
And Team Weekend just, if they would be running those Blood Elves, right, they could deal with all of this pretty easily. It's really smart. And that is also something that barely any team probably ever thinks about running Horde. Because the Dwarf Racial and the Shadow Melt is just so good in so many dungeons. But maybe the thought process of even running Horde is something that just barely comes to your mind in the MDI, especially if you're like a veteran team who have been playing Alliance this whole time. So very interesting that WoW-Xbox thought of this and actually came up with Blood Elves. I really like that strategy. It makes so much sense for them. And Team Weekend now did manage to engage this one.
On that note of the Horde versus Alliance, something that's going to be very interesting to see once 9.2.5 comes out. That game's a big mix and match, right? You can play more with Alliance characters. So you can maybe splash in 1 or 2 Arcane Torrents while everyone else is doing the Horde Racial, which is really interesting to see. Something to think about for future
That makes so much sense. I think Arcane Torrent is actually a pretty good racial that is kind of underrated in the MDI because everyone has to play Alliance, right? And Dwarf Racial is good. I don't think everyone in your group needs Dwarf Racial. So having like one person play Arcane Torrent for a master spell, I do think that is something that's going to be played a lot, I assume, in the next season.
This is so interesting. Look at how much WoW-Xbox is committing to the single target damage up there. Ricky had his Infernal on cooldown going into this massive fashion. Opted to not use it, letting their Survival Hunter do a majority of the damage, but even without popping the Infernal, still doing, a pretty considerable 40k DPS. Not bad by any means necessary, and they're able to get through the pull cleanly, so pretty useful. Got their low Drifter buff, and I would imagine that the rest of their dungeons will be pulling these last couple of flashbacks into the boss for their final percent.
Yeah, they have everything available here. If they want to take the risk, which sometimes, it's right, you can just see, beforehand, we don't have to do this. It looks like they are. It's a see, they want to get inspired box there at the very start. And now the Relic pack, plus everything else into Tredova, and we're going to be committing all offensive cooldowns in just a second. This is still really crucial though, because if they have a wipe here, that could mean that Team Weekend can still catch up because they only need so little trash percentage on their side.
And Chaos Bolts coming in hot. There's still a few Rain of Fires being cast, but it's mostly Chaos Bolts for pure single target damage coming out of Ricky here. Very important to try to focus a few mobs down, and look at the damage. Even spec'd into the single target. Being able to spawn all those Infernals is insane for Warlock. Doing still almost 200k DPS. Oh man,
There's no way he was casting Chaos Bolts though, right?
There were some Rain of Fires, but he was also casting Chaos Bolts. It was a little bit of both.
Wow, okay, yeah, that's a lot of damage coming out of the Astral Warlock there. Of course, mainly AoE, because they pulled so much trash in there. But I do think that, as you said, probably still coming to see. Not just probably, very likely. Yeah.
remember, like, on AoE, like 60% of the damage is just Infernal AoE and Blasphemy AoE. So, even if you're just casting Chaos Bolts, it's still a lot of AoE damage passively coming out of those throws that you spawn whenever you're doing something. You get the power infusion too, so it's just spamming out casts. But, hey, I mean, even with the single target build not quite going the way they wanted it to, this is still going to be a relatively fast Mists of Tyrannosaurus. Remember, they were comparing it to, I think you said 1502? 1506, like low 15s? For Donuts in Despair. This is going to end up being in the high 16s, but, you know, if they were able to get that first boss, maybe because of the music a little bit quicker, this looks like it's a pretty solid strategy.
I definitely like their approach, and I think it's incredibly creative. Thinking about this even, you know, switching to Legendary, switching to Horde as well. I really, really like their, like, thinking out of the box kind of style for this dungeon. It's definitely been very good. You can see, of course, Team Weekend, because of the struggle they had with that maze. It's a bit slower, but WoW-Megalo was the team expected to win this series since they are at the second seed of this group. And yeah, just very 0 deaths in this Mists as well. And 1656 is the final time, as they're going to be winning the series against Team Weekend and moving on to the upper bracket.
That's right, we've got a 2-0 for WoW-Megalo. The prophecy has been fulfilled, and people jumping off the edge here on Team Weekend to say, no, this one's over, but they kept it pretty competitive. It did, like you said, the maze did cause them to fall a little bit behind, but it certainly looked a little bit better than the first half of the series, that's for sure.
Yeah, if we see this Team Weekend in the lower bracket tomorrow, I have good hopes for them making a run down there. It was much better than the Plaguefall out of them, but of course, WoW-Megalo with just a much faster...
You mustn't let him lose! He'll kill us all!
Again, 0 deaths in the series from WoW-Megalo. Very impressive showing in their first series of the day and of the tournament. Definitely puts them in contention for... I mean, they are one of our top 2 teams in this group. But they are the lower of the two, right? They're the second highest team in the group, so they're trying to do even better than they did in the time trials if they want to win the group.
You gotta do. One of the things that jumped out at me the most from this particular run is something that you were mentioning during it. It's ironic, is the Warlock Legendary, the single target one. Can you say the name of that one again? I know what it was. What was it again?
Do that. You know, it's one of those Nerubian things. I just can't pronounce it. I don't think human tongues are meant to twist that way. But it increases their Chaos Bolt damage.
Yeah, you can see the Warlock single target damage here just kind of ascending during the Ingramalic burn phase. Now, if you compare this to last weekend, you'll be like, oh, they got Ingramalic high, like it was worse, right? But you gotta remember, this is tyrannical. Last weekend was fortified, so getting Ingramalic to the point where you can, I mean, it's not quite like a one phase, but you didn't have to do a second tree, right? You just killed it from 20 to 0 before it got the Embrace Darkness shield. Really impressive. Right. Here's some value out of Blood Elf. During the leap from the Gorge Cullet, people are getting zoned out. People are not able to kick that Nourish the Forest. Everybody's having to move out. Nourish the Forest cast goes off. But like Nagura mentioned, it's a hot, so we've got just those Blood Elves, 2 Blood Elves just instantly clicked there, and removing that hot from the pack here. Even though there wasn't like an Inspiring that made that a necessary play, there's just so much stuff going on in these pulls. Similarly here, you got Acid Globules, you've got Volatile Acid, people are getting zoned. You have one of those Absorb Shield casts here, this Simulate Resistance cast you can see ends up going off, right? Then you can just come in, instantly purge that, and it does basically nothing if you have that like within one global Blood Elf in either of those cases. So really valuable ratio to use in a dungeon like this if you're not confident that you can stop 100% of those casts with your interrupt ability, which realistically, especially on Inspiring, there's just so many ways that can be impossible to do. And then of course just this last boss here just getting melted. Now to be fair, there's a lot of AoE damage coming out of here as well, but you would be shocked by just how much of this is actually single target from Ricky as well on this Warlock. But okay, yeah, most of it is AoE.
I don't see Chaos Bolts being casted.
Okay, you know what? I gave him the benefit of the doubt.
There's a little bit of single target happening. You know, there's
a couple there. There's
There
one.
you go.
Yeah, Chaos Ball. 2, 3.
Come on.
There we go.
Wow,
Couple
okay,
Chaos
there we
Balls.
go.
Yeah.
Just have to set up some blocking stuff here.
Yeah.
True, yeah.
It's all maintenance, you know?
Yeah.
It's really all about the Chaos Balls. Obviously. So, WoW-Megalo using the madness of the There it is on the
Yeah,
right side.
the third
Oh,
top
I see
right.
why you can pronounce that name now.
Yeah. Yeah, those are not two consonants that should ever be next to each other. A J and a Z, that's cursed.
What's wrong with Jay-Z?
That's true.
Great.
All right,
great
not
round.
cursed. Not
J's
cursed.
and
Good
Z's.
point.
Yeah. I mean, to be
Touche.
fair. Well, like, so we usually see the Wilfred Sigil Superior Summoning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the WSSS as it's called, I suppose, too. But the WSOSS?
The W3S, yeah. That's what the cool warlocks are calling it, yeah.
Exactly. All the warlocks on TikTok these days. Yep. You know how it is. Yeah. But yeah, the single target wasn't working out. I mean, it's a tyrannical tech, right? But it seemed solid. You know, that warlock was certainly like pumping out a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an interesting choice. Now, if they really wanted to double down on pure single target damage, they could have maybe even gone Kyrian Warlock with that as well, because that's pretty much the raid build that most players are running in Raid as Destro is Kyrian Warlock with habits.
On the second and third classes, you do have pads that you can Scouring Tides as well.
So you can get full value of that pretty much the entire fight. Now, the question is, who in the group would have been playing Mind Fae if the Warlock wasn't Mind Fae? So that's probably
That's the problem.
Maybe could have been the priest, but they probably just don't think so. You definitely get more damage on that here. What do you get? Blood decay?
If the warlock
Really?
plays, if the priest plays Night Fae, you can even have the Fae Guardians to reduce the 2.5 thermal if you're going to be running some Wilfreds, right?
Yeah.
I play Night Fae on Answer Challenge. Same.
We'll keep that option in mind as well.
We can help.
We'll,
That's right.
You know, if you don't hear from us in 2 weeks, then just assume you're another candidate.
Does Witchery total one shot empty?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Of course it does. Of course it does.
It literally like did during beta, and then they made it not. It was a tragic day.
Oh, no
They would
fun.
nerf Naturally.
I know. It was messed up.
Why did they do that? Why did they gotta take to the pets like that? Well, we got Sloth versus Mythic Meme Dream Team coming up next for our final series of the day. A little preview of that one. Who do we expect to take? What do you think, Nagura?
Sloth is definitely the favorite of this matchup because Sloth is I don't want to call it like super veteran team because they've only started competing 2 seasons ago. But still, right? Having 2 seasons already in MDI is definitely really amazing, especially on the very first day of the cup where you really have to come up with strategies. And Mythic Meme Dream Team, they are a new team. They're French license. So I do think Sloth is the favorite, but you never know what happens, right?
Yeah, I suppose it's true. Sloth was known as Reload Esports if you're looking back in season 3. That's right. But we've seen a couple teams come through from the live servers, either just friends that play together. So Mythic Meme Dream Team. It's cool to see squads like this make it, right? Because even if you just make it this far, that's still quite the accomplishment, you know?
Yeah, we will be pitting them as a reward in some of our toughest level dungeons. We got the mandatory list here with 224s and a 23. So congratulations, welcome to the FBI.
Well, hey, trial by fire, right? Or a trial by poisonous sludge and gas. But either way, a lot to look forward to for these teams, no doubt. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, the final series of the day. It's going to be great. It's going to be Sloth versus MMDT. Do not miss it. Be back in just a few here on MDI. Welcome back to MDI one more time to get ready for our final series of the day. Dylan, Ironic, Dratinos, and Mix here with you, getting ready for Sloth versus Mythic Meme Dream Team. That's right, Sloth, a lot of experience here in MDI, but again, you gotta like the challenges coming up. You gotta like that. That looks like a very comfortable cat right now for Mix.
It once had scritches.
Hold on. Everyone's got all their pets showing up. You know, here you go.
I'll turn your
There you go.
world upside
This is
down.
Hi, Mango. Whoa, Ma, you've grown. You're cat size now. Wait. Oh yeah, there you go.
Wait, what's
Yeah,
Dratinos'
hi.
pet?
Yeah, where's your pet? Where's yours, Zyra?
She's
Yeah.
vibing off in some of them. I didn't want to bother her.
Yeah.
Rejected.
You've never
I
seen
mean,
your
it's
pet
not
on
like
stream.
I wanted to bother my cat. It's more like, he's here now, so
Alright. Goodbye.
it wasn't voluntary.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about our match we got going on. Obviously, Sloth coming into this one a little bit favored due to experience, I suppose. Beginning there could be big surprises, but we've got some very difficult dungeons for this series. I'm really excited to see the bans. There's no avoiding the 24 necrotic wave, but there's some other stuff that could be dodged. It's going to be Theater of Pain, not or banned rather, or it was banned in fact by Mythic Meme Dream Team, and then the other ban coming in on Gambit for Sloth. So pretty standard to see a team ban out the Tazvash dungeon, but the 21 Theater of Pain, interesting ban. That would be the lowest key level dungeon banned out by Mythic Meme Dream Team.
Yeah, I mean,
Interesting to me anyway.
Tyrannical Theater of Pain is very typically like not a very favorable map for teams to play. 5 boss dungeons, Tyrannical,
It's not
difficult,
fun.
but let's get right into this necrotic wave.
That was quick.
All right, so we have the Vengeance Demon Hunters from both sides. This is one of the dungeons where Vengeance does see quite a bit of play. Also, nice extra Kyrian to have in a Kyrian dungeon. Both teams, though, on that same cup, and they're both starting off with this huge pull into Blightbone. Okay, so this is potentially one of the most volatile spots here. They are both using Bloodlust as well.
Yeah, they're both just trying to survive and also blast the boss at the same time. Now, both of these teams would want to use that buff from the Goliath, but it seems like only Sloth has picked up those orbs before, as I don't see the buff on the Mythic Meme Dream Team, right? You're just now getting them, so lost out on a lot of AoE pulsing damage here, just by going straight for Blightbone and not using the debuff.
Yeah, so what Mythic Meme Dream Team might do now, it's always a fun name to have to say every time, is maybe go over and take this chain pull into that Harvester, that double Harvester pack up here. Yeah, this is exactly what they're going to do. So with that pulsing Kyrian orbs, they're going to be using them to take care of this trash as well. And then they'll still potentially even have 20 seconds of that buff to start their next pull really quick. So, and they're killing a Woe Drifter in this pack as well. So they'll be able to quickly navigate to whatever they want to do next. I'm actually very excited to see what they can do with this, because they were able to deal with the first part of Blightbone without these Kyrian weapons. Yeah, they still have 20 seconds left on them. Maybe they can use this to just nuke the Necromancer over here. Is that what they're up to, or are they just... Hey, no, they're letting this expire without seeing full use of it. Yeah, so I do think that they probably should have
I liked
activated
your
the first
angle.
one sooner.
Yeah, I liked your angle of like maximizing this and then using it here. But what they did is Malik dropping really low for Sloth. What they did is the exact, well, nearly exact same as Sloth was doing, and just refreshing that buff. Actually, I think it's Javier goes down here. I was gonna say Javier. How would you say the name?
I think probably Javier as well. Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm not 100% sure. You never know for sure.
I mean,
it does look like Mythic Meme Dream Team have a different idea than most other teams in this dungeon, though, because they've skipped that whole Narzuda Necromancer area. So they're going to need to get so much count from this area. I wonder if they're going to pull the big Bone Storm guy. Oh, we have a death over for Mythic Meme Dream. Two actually as well, an Angel and a Hunter going down. Sloth getting towards this part of the dungeon as well, but Sloth has way more trash count because they did that pull of the Narzuda mini-boss, but Mythic Meme Dream Team now have a
What's on your mind? Safe travels. Feel free to browse. Be careful.
God forgive me. I was not expecting that. But no matter. Since I am grateful to you, an epic battle. How exciting. I have such fascinating things to show you. I must bid you farewell.
What do you seek?
gardens are overrun, and there is no room for new growth. Clear the excess.
Good day to you. Safe travels.
Need help? For the Alliance.